At the auction, my fiancé's assistant accidentally raised her paddle twice. The first time, she outbid the client's wife by 300 to snatch the necklace. Faced with Xingting's scolding, she stuck out her tongue. Her husband is always giving you a hard time. I just wanted to teach her a lesson. She was arrogant and rude, yet she always had Xingting's back. This drew a chuckle from Xingting. The second time, she lit the sky lantern and blinked at me with feigned innocence. Pink isn't for someone your age anymore. Why don't you let me have it? Watching the bidding go round after round, Xingting sighed helplessly. Your skin tone doesn't suit Pink, just let her have it. 1. This auction isn't very big, and the prices of the items rarely reach 8 figures. The organizer, Mr. Lin, is actually the son of a business partner. He just returned from studying abroad and set up a charity auction. To help his son make a good impression, Mr. Lin personally delivered the invitations. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come. I never expected to run into Xingting here. Congratulations to Mr. Xing of Xingshi Technology for successfully bidding on this collection item at a price of 6,300,000. 3 hammer blows fell. Qinyao rose from her seat and gave a slight bow in the direction of Madame He Mrs. He, usually known for her gentle demeanor, rarely showed a stern expression. A murmur rippled through the crowd. How can you raise the price like this? Just 300 more. Who doesn't know that Mrs. He has been emotionally drained by the mistress lately? She must have done it on purpose. Xingting frowned. He also thought Qinyao was going a bit too far, but Qinyao just stuck out her tongue. Who made her husband keep delaying the project payment? I'm just going to teach her a lesson. What's wrong with 300? I just happen to like the number 3. Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried clearly enough for everyone to hear. Mrs. He's expression grew even frostier. Seeing Qinyao's arrogant and disrespectful demeanor, Xingting actually laughed out loud. You really mustn't be so willful next time. Shashua, sitting beside me, couldn't help but glance my way. Director Wen, this is. I averted my gaze and picked up the coffee made by Director Lin himself. Rich aroma, beautiful latte art. Unfortunately, I can't enjoy this cup of coffee anymore. The next lot was soon brought forward, a pink diamond necklace. Starting bid, 3 million. Shashira raised her placard without hesitation. I came here specifically for this artifact. Reasonable price, a bid of 10 million, just to give Mr. Lin some face. Besides, we're about to crash his event, so we should at least offer some compensation. By the time the bid reached 8 million, only a few people were still bidding. We all move in the same circles, bound to cross paths sooner or later. Everyone just raised the price a little for show. There are rarely sustained price increases. The host struck the gavel twice, but just as the third hammer was about to fall, Qinyao raised her card again. Light the sky lanterns. As the words fell, everyone turned their gaze toward her. Lighting the sky lantern is a rare sight in the circle. Unless provoked, few people would choose to light a sky lantern. This kind of thing always backfires and hurts everyone involved. Qinyao tossed her hair back and shot me a provocative smile over her shoulder. Mr. Wen, pink isn't really your style at your age. Why don't you pass it on to me? 2. Hearing Qinyao's words, Xingting whipped around. Only then did he realize I was here too. All eyes shifted from Qinyao to me. Why do I feel like the mistress is provoking the wife? Since Mr. Wen and Mr. Xing were already engaged, you're not wrong to say that. No wonder that woman was giving Mrs. He a hard time. Turns out they're both mistresses. Just sit back and watch the show. She's not exactly known for her patience. My engagement to Xing Ting is common knowledge in our circle. Back then, many people envied his luck for latching onto me just as his family was about to go bankrupt, and now, he's letting his assistant snatch my things right in front of everyone. Shashua glanced at me, but her hand never stopped, continuing to raise the bid. 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. Translation, Xingting's expression grew increasingly somber. The rule of the auction is that once the sky lantern is lit, no matter how high the price goes, you cannot stop. Seeing the price had reached 50 million, Xingting suddenly stood up. That's enough. I raised an eyebrow. That's not enough. In just over 10 seconds, Qinyao's earlier arrogance had completely vanished. As the auctioneer called out the bids, her face grew paler by the second. Xingting walked to my side and forced a faint smile. Don't add any more. I looked up at him. To be honest, Xingting is really good looking, otherwise, it wouldn't have softened even a heart of stone like mine. When the Xing family was on the brink of bankruptcy, he searched all over Jiangqing, finally begging at my doorstep. In his darkest hour, I was the only one who reached out a hand to pull him back. He said he would do anything if it meant helping his family. He also said I was more than a lover, I was his savior, and he would never betray me for as long as he lived. The man before me now merged with the kneeling boy from that year, then separated again. The boy's shadow shattered completely. Seeing that I remained silent, Xingting gritted his teeth. That pink doesn't suit your complexion, just let her have it. Smack! I smashed the coffee-filled cup against Xingting's head. The coffee cup left a gash on his forehead. Blood mixed with coffee quickly stained his white shirt. Oh, what have you done to him? 3. Qinyao came running over with a scream. She fumbled as she tried to wipe the coffee stain off Song Ting, seeing the wound on Song Ting's head. Her eyes welled up with heartache. You venomous woman, how could you be so cruel? Before she could finish, Xiaoshui handed her coffee to me. Ah, the scream rang out once more. Xiaoshui has a unique taste and enjoys drinking hot Americanos. This one just came out. Qinyao skin flushed red from the heat, her carefully styled hair now a tangled mess. The little white dress suffered too. The two of them, splattered with coffee and looking utterly disheveled, were a perfect match in their misery. I took the bidding paddle from Xiaoshui and called out a new price, 100 million. Xingting, who was checking Qinyao for burns, froze on the spot. Qinyao was so stunned she even forgot to cry. The two of them just stared at me, dumbfounded. The sound of hushed whispers rose around us once more. You can bid like that on this price. At this price point, a capital verification is standard procedure. As long as Mr. Wen passes the verification, the price is justified. The Xing family suffered heavy losses a few years back. It's questionable whether Xingting can afford that 100 million. Of course, Xingting can afford it, but that's about all he can do. Qinyao was completely panicked, grabbing Xingting's sleeve. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it. Xingting's face turned ashen. He wanted the necklace less than anyone else, but he knew the rules. Once the sky lantern was lit, there was no backing out. Don't give the girl a hard time. I stood up with a smile. Can't you tell? It's you I'm giving a hard time. Xingting, either call the police and report this as deliberate sabotage, or pay up. Hearing my reply, he clenched his fists. At the mention of calling the police, Qinyao and his arms trembled with fear. She bit her lip, looking as if she had suffered a grave injustice. Xingting drew a deep breath, the veins on his forehead bulging through gritted teeth. Fine, I'll pay. 3 strikes and you're out. Congratulations to Mr. Xing of Xingshi Group on successfully acquiring the collection. I raised my hand and clapped 3 times with a smile. Congratulations, Mr. Xing. Mission accomplished. I turned to leave with Xiaoshui. Unexpectedly, Qinyao, who had just been sobbing, blocked our way. You can't leave. You assaulted Mr. Xing and threw coffee at me. You're going to pay for this. I'm calling the police. I raised an eyebrow, not expecting her to dare to stop me. Xingting grabbed her arm. Qinyao, stop fooling around. No one knew where Qinyao got the strength, but she suddenly shoved Xingting away. Mr. Xing, how much longer are you going to put up with this? Xingting fell silent. I couldn't help but laugh. I wonder what kind of drama they're about to put on. Qinyao, as if emboldened, pointed at me and shouted, you old hag, don't you know Mr. Xing has been fed up with you for ages. He's a person, not your pet dog. Do you think he loves you? He'll never forget the humiliation you put him through. Because of you, people are spreading all sorts of rumors out there. Some are even calling him a live-in son-in-law. As she became more animated, Qinyao turned to the onlookers around her, seeking validation. No man could ever accept a woman like that. Don't you agree? A sudden hush fell over the surroundings. Suddenly, a derisive laugh came to mind. If a woman could throw that much money my way, I'd gladly take her last name. Someone quickly chimed in. Yeah, like self-respect is really worth that much money. That's over $1 billion. How many people's dignity could that buy? Qinyao stood there, frozen in a comical stupor. I glanced at Xingting. His expression darkened even further. We've been together for a full 4 years now. I know him, born with a silver spoon. He's always thought himself a cut above the rest. Before the age of 23, he had never faced any hardships. That year's bankruptcy shattered every last shred of his pride. Now, his self-respect has been painstakingly pieced back together. He wanted to live off his partner while acting entitled, but couldn't bear having it thrown in his face in front of all these people. Qinyao laid bare his deepest, most secret insecurity. He wasn't going to thank Qinyao. Shut up. Qinyao was startled by Xingting's shout. She blinked in confusion, seeing her like that. Xingting couldn't bring himself to be harsh in the end. He lowered his head, grabbed Qinyao's wrist, and tried to flee the scene. I was wrong today. I'll come find you. Tomorrow to make it right. Shashira raised her hand to stop him. This lady insulted President Wen. She's not going anywhere for now. A slight smile touched my lips. Shashira really does understand me best. Since I came of age, no one has ever insulted me without paying a price. Xingting closed his eyes for a moment. Apologize. Qinyao looked at him in disbelief. Apologize. Tears fell one by one from Qinyao's eyes. I'm sorry. Xingting gave me a long, intense look before turning to head for the door, but Shashira stopped her. Mr. Xing, it's your turn. Xingting snapped his head around. When he, don't you dare, snap. He didn't finish his sentence before I slapped him to cut him off. Seeing the 5-finger mark quickly appear on his face, I couldn't help but laugh. That's not even crossing the line. You haven't seen what I'm truly capable of. I took the wet wipe from Shashira and meticulously cleaned my fingers, which had touched his skin. Did you really think we could just go on like before? Hearing this, Xingting looked at me in disbelief. What do you mean? When he, is such a trivial matter really worth all this? Qinyao is my assistant. She just came along to broaden her horizons. You've already hit her. You've already made a scene. What more do you want? What more do I want? When he, am not a charity. You're going to pay me back double for everything you took. I took a step forward, closing the distance until our faces were almost touching. Xingting, I've known the story of the farmer and the snake since I was a child. Do I look like a farmer to you? Perhaps my gaze was too aggressive, because Xingting couldn't help but take a step back. What do you mean? If you find my money so insulting, then give it back. I'm someone who can take things as they come and let them go when it's time. Love can go to the dogs, money can't. 5. Leaving the venue, a light rain began to fall. The weather in Jiangqing can change in an instant. Just moments before the auction began, the sky was clear and bright. I lit a cigarette under my umbrella in the rain wreathed in smoke. It was as if I could see the way Xingting came to me all those years ago. The rain that day was much heavier than this. It was early spring in Jiangqing, and the grass hadn't yet turned fully green. Xingting was dressed lightly, his usual pride and dignity completely gone. He said nothing and knelt at my doorstep. I don't really have much of a relationship with Xingting. Besides, I had just taken over the company at the time. My half-brother is watching me like a hawk. My own father is putting obstacles in my way at every turn. I had no intention of helping him, but he has a sharp mind and is easy on the eyes. Xingting is a man of means. The fact that he came to me for help means he already knew I'd been through the same thing when my father nearly ran the company into the ground. I had to beg for help just like he's doing now. Having been caught in the rain yourself, you learn to offer an umbrella to others, whether for lust or for power. It's all the same. I really did let my guard down back then. I still remember how he looked when he made that vow. He said, if you betray me, may you die a miserable death. Mr. When it's raining heavily, let's get in the car. Shashira rolled down the car window to remind me. I extinguished the cigarette and opened the car door. Xingting, it's time to meet your doom. 6. End all cooperation with Xingshi Group. Recall the project team and have the marketing department draft a press release. Xingting spent 100 million on his mistress, leaving me heartbroken and determined to call off our engagement. The Wen family and Xingshi Group are now completely severed. Hearing my words, Shashira froze for a moment. In business, I've always taken a moderate approach and rarely let emotions dictate my decisions. President Wen, this will deal a heavy blow to Xingshi, but we'll take a hit too. I remained silent. Instead, I retrieved a folder from the safe and handed it over. I wasn't lying to Xingting. I've seen the story of the farmer and the snake play out with my own eyes since I was a child. The moment I decided to help him, I kept an ace up my sleeve. Every dirty deed Xingting has been involved in over the years is right here, the shady ones, and the downright criminal. It's all shady business. Anyway, he's got a death wish. I'll oblige him. I tossed the folder to Shashue. I'll likely be going on a business trip tomorrow evening. Starting from the moment I leave, release one item every 6 hours. Shashira took the folder. Her eyes lit up the moment she saw what was inside. The look she gave me held a new layer of admiration. I smiled and sent her on her way. Go on, I have a guest. Have her come straight to my office later. Shashira gathered up the documents, but she stopped abruptly at the door. She seemed hesitant, yet her voice was earnest and resolute. She said, Sister Wenhe, I will always stand by your side. Seeing her like that, the smile faded from my lips. A rare Warmth welled up in my heart. In this cold, ruthless world of fame and fortune, only Shashua would stand by my side. Shashua had only just left. My guest has arrived. This was not my first meeting with Mrs. He. I once attended a He group gala with Xingting, and we exchanged a few words. She and Mr. He built their business from the ground up, built the business empire we see today. But everyone knew that if it weren't for Mr. He's reluctance to part with half his fortune, they would have divorced long ago. Mrs. He had only one daughter. Under the pretense of building her character, Mr. He sent her to study in Germany as early as middle school. I'm not in the country, I'm not involved with the company, and I'm studying something as impractical as art. Everyone knows what Mr. He is thinking. His goal is to keep the mother and daughter away from everything related to the He family, so he can leave all the inheritance to his illegitimate son. But he hadn't expected He Ying to be so impressive. I earned my doctorate in finance without a single penny of support from my family. Now Mrs. He wants her to return home, while Mr. He wants her to stay abroad permanently. They were locked in a stalemate, each holding the other in check. President 1, I'd like to discuss a potential collaboration with you. Mrs. He took a delicate sip of tea. The deliberate show of kindness at the auction vanished completely. Her eyes were sharp and piercing. No woman who makes it this far is ordinary. The He Corporation has been Xingshi Group's biggest client for the past 2 years. After I helped Xingting weather the crisis back then, Xingshi Group underwent rapid reforms. They slashed 40% of their legacy industrial operations and plunged headfirst into the new energy boom. In just 2 years, he developed top-tier batteries and connected with the Ho family in this market. Only the Ho family can absorb such a large share of batteries. As soon as the collaboration with the Ho family ends, Xingshi Group will once again fall into crisis. It's not just a matter of being on the brink of bankruptcy, Mr. 1. If this deal goes through, your corporation will be the primary supplier. The new energy project has a lot of people salivating, and I'm no exception. I've had my eye on a piece of that pie for a long time. The market share is only so big as long as Xingshi is around. I'll never get a foot in the door. I extended my hand and shook Mrs. He's deal. 7. After seeing Mrs. He off, I got a call from home. Get your ass home. Before I could even say a word, my dad hung up. My good mood vanished as I looked at the call log. The Wen family's old house was quite a distance from the city center. By the time I arrived, dusk was settling in. The housekeeper was waiting outside the door. Miss, you're back. I glanced over and realized it wasn't the one who called me second miss last time. In the living room, my father, my mother, my sister, and that half-brother of mine were all present. They sat together, creating an odd illusion of a family of 4. You must be so busy, sis. You kept mom and dad waiting for 3 hours. The moment I stepped inside, Wen Ling's snide voice rang out. Naturally, I'm busier than you are. I shot back without even looking up. My relationship with my younger sister has never been good. Mom, look at what she's doing, Wen Ling complained, furious and flustered. Seeing her younger daughter upset, my mother immediately scolded me. When he can't you say something nice to your sister for once? 8. I looked up at my mother. It had been nearly a year since my mother and I last saw each other, after a year apart. That's the first thing she said to me. Let me say something nice to Wen Ling. All right, let me repeat myself. My time is expensive, unlike you useless lot who have all the time in the world. So, if you have something to say, spit it out. If you have nothing of value, then shut up. Enough. My father sprang to his feet. He pointed at me and started shouting abuse. I don't have a daughter like you. Look at what you've done. If your mother hadn't stopped me, I'd have beaten you today. I raised an eyebrow, wondering what on earth I had done to make him this furious. Word about you and Xingting has spread everywhere. Everyone's asking me what's going on with you. How dare you even suggest that the Wen family is breaking ties with the Xing Group, when this is the business world, not some childish game. Withdraw that public statement immediately. If you can't even keep a man from being stolen by his own assistant, then you clearly don't have what it takes. Step aside and let someone else handle Xingting. Do you think the current prosperity is the same as it was 4 years ago? Because of your foolishness, the Xing family has completely turned the tables. If you keep messing around like this, you might as well hand over the company sooner rather than later, or it'll be ruined by you. He launched into a Passionate tirade directed at me. He got so worked up that his face flushed red. I frowned. Two key pieces of information were gleaned from his words. First, relinquish control of Xingting. Second, relinquish control of the company. As for who it should be relinquished to, I turned to look at Wenson, who hadn't said a word since I walked in. Looks like the company is going to give it to this guy. Noticing my gaze fixed on him, Wenson cleared his throat softly. You really miscalculated this move. When you lose, you have to admit it. My eyes traveled up and down his frame. He was dressed in a bespoke suit, his hair impeccably groomed. He leaned back in his seat, hands folded. He had the air of a master strategist. He was also wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. I have no idea where he picked up that CEO style. Think you're a real boss just because you're dressed like one. I hate it when he acts like that. I grabbed the crystal ashtray from the coffee table. Bang! The crystal ashtray smashed hard into the side of his head. The ashtray hit with such force that Vincent didn't even have time to scream. He collapsed face first into the sofa. Those gold-rimmed glasses he wore to look profound were smashed to pieces. I looked down at him from my superior position. Wenson, if you run your mouth and get hit, you've got to own it. Who the hell does he think he is? Trying to lecture me. The people in the living room were completely dumbfounded. They didn't expect me to actually go through with it. Wen Ling was so frightened that she clung to my mother. My dad lost his earlier fury toward me and hurriedly checked on Vincent's head. This is his only son. We're counting on him to reclaim the family fortune. If I end up bashing his brains in, it's all over. Seeing the look on their faces, I dropped the ashtray. By the way, forget about letting Wenson swagger around and deceive people under the Wen family banner. I've blacklisted both you and your son across the entire industry. As for that Miss Liu he's been cozying up to lately, I'll have someone inform the Liu family exactly who Wenson really is. The path you walked, don't even think about letting your son follow it. My father pointed a trembling finger at me. Utterly broken, you monster. Are you determined to drive your own brother into a corner with no way out? I shook my head. He spoke each word clearly. Dad, I'm going to wipe you all out. 9. To avoid giving my dad a heart attack and being branded a patricide, I decided to leave the old house first, but to my surprise, my mom came running after me. She took my hand, as naturally affectionate as any ordinary mother and daughter. Mom wants to have a serious talk with you today. I know you had feelings for Xiaoxing, and I know you're hurting over how things have turned out, but you need to think about the bigger picture. You've invested so much in the Xing family. Are you really going to just stand by and watch it all go to waste? Young Xing has achieved some success now, so it's only natural he's developed a bit of a temper. I know your own temper isn't the best either. The two of you just aren't a good match. But look at Wen Ling. She's gentle, good-natured, and you know she has feelings for Xiaoxing. Why not keep things in the family, so to speak? I watched as she took my hand. We were never close, so it must have been difficult for her to come and butter me up on Wen Ling's behalf. Mom, do you remember what day it is today? It's my birthday. My mother was taken aback, completely caught off guard by my sudden question. A flicker of regret passed through her eyes, and she stammered, flustered, I'm sorry, Mom's been so busy. What do you like? Mom will get it for you. I gave a slight, wry smile. Today isn't my birthday. Under her stunned gaze, I pulled my hand free from her grasp. Step on the gas and get out of this disgusting place. My parents don't love me. I knew it all along. In families like ours, parents' discord usually stems from arranged marriages for business, but my family is different. My parents married for love. My mother fell for him at first sight and was completely smitten. I even went against my grandparents to secretly get married for my dad. At that time, my grandfather's family wielded immense power. Thanks to my grandfather's support, my father, an illegitimate son, secured the inheritance rights to the Wen family fortune. Back then, they were deeply in love and had 2 children in 3 years. Alas, the good times did not last. Their relationship gradually faded as my grandfather's family fell from power. My dad is growing more and more impatient. At first, it was just more social engagements, then he started staying out all night. In the end, he even brought a woman back with him. My mom was a pampered only child, so when her husband started straying, she wasn't about to let it go quietly. She made a scene at home and then took it to the office. After a while, my dad started avoiding her, and she even locked me out on purpose just to get my dad's attention. -18 degrees. It was the coldest time of year in River City. Unfortunately, the self-inflicted injury tactic failed. My dad didn't get the message at all. I was out in the cold for half the night. Early the next morning, my mom finally had a revelation when she saw me lying there, barely alive. Her heart was completely broken, and she was determined to leave this home. I was genuinely happy for her back then. I was running around, helping her pack her bags. I thought we were finally leaving this place, but she only took Wenling with her. Then, one after another, new mistresses moved into the house. I lived there alone, treading carefully in that home. As fate would have it, the year I turned 20, the Wen Corporation project went south. The funding dried up, and it teetered on the brink of bankruptcy. To avoid liability, my father transferred the company into my name ahead of time. He absconded with the money and fled abroad with his mistress and their illegitimate child. Back then, my dad could never have imagined I'd revive the Wen Group. By the time he found out, it was far too late. 10. I've never been truly harsh with my parents, but since they've had enough of their comfortable life, then let's all be miserable together. My mother never worked, and the two of them, her and Wenling, had high expenses. The money their grandfather left them had long since run out. They've been using my card all these years. I cancelled their supplementary cards and evicted them from my villa. Shashua came with a team to itemize everything, piece by piece, whether it was jewelry, bags, or shoes. Anything bought with my money had to stay. My mother and Wenling threw a tantrum and were thrown out by the bodyguards, but they still wanted to cause a scene at my company. Unfortunately, I didn't even make it past the company's front door. As for my dad, it's much simpler. Vincent's company was just getting off the ground, and after I spread the word, no one dared to partner with him. Miss Liu refused to show her face upon learning his identity. At my instigation, former friends turned against me, adding insult to injury. My father couldn't handle the shock and fell ill right away. Winston wasn't the quiet type. He secretly hooked up with Xingting. However, Xingting hasn't been doing well lately and can't spare the time to help Vincent. That 100 million in cash completely wiped out his wallet. The next major payment from Xingshi Group won't come in until next quarter at the earliest. I heard he quickly offloaded several luxury cars, just as we put out one fire. Another crisis flared up at the company. We exposed Xingshi for tax evasion, bribery, and bid rigging. Any one of these would be enough to land Xingting in serious trouble. The entire internet is now calling him an ungrateful wretch. They're denouncing Xingshi as an ungrateful corporation. Many executives and shareholders active online have been implicated by association. Xingting was young, so naturally some shareholders were dissatisfied. This time, another incident like this has sparked a collective backlash from shareholders who are dissatisfied with him. There was even talk of sacrificing him to take the fall, letting him bear the blame alone. If it weren't for holding on to the project with director Xingting would have already been suspended by the board. Shashua told me that Xingting has been coming to the office to see me every day lately. He'll keep waiting until he sees me. Several young women in the secretarial office were visibly moved. Does he really know he was wrong? Hearing Shashua's words, I couldn't help but laugh. He didn't realize he was wrong. He knew he was finished. It had been 2 weeks since I returned to Jiangqing from my business trip. At the He family's dinner party, I saw Xingting again. He's lost a fair bit of weight, with dark circles under his eyes. Unlike the confident and spirited man he was half a month ago, he now stood on the fringes of the crowd, looking rather downcast. He Yiling followed my gaze. So this is your ex-boyfriend? Not much to look at. I took a sip of the wine. It really wasn't very good. He Yiling, thinking she'd struck a nerve, patted me on the shoulder. Hey, we've all been blind to someone before. I know plenty of juniors who are way better than him. I'll introduce you to some later. She made me laugh. Sure, this business trip really showed me what He Yiling is capable of. She manages to juggle her studies and her love life perfectly. In just 2 weeks, I've already met 3 of her boyfriends. Xingting also noticed us. The banquet invited many CEOs from related industries. Given my relationship with Xingting, I shouldn't have been invited in the first place, so he was particularly surprised to see me. Ahi, what are you doing here? I swirled my wine glass. The Wen Group is also on Mr. He's short list of potential suppliers. If you can be here, why can't I? Xingting was taken aback for a moment. Only then, remembering that I was also in the battery business, he took my hand and lowered his voice. Let's talk. You know my connection with the He family. You don't stand a chance. I also know a few good clients. If you're willing to talk with me, I can introduce you. 11. No need. He Yiling answered him on my behalf. The conversation was interrupted, and Xingting looked at He Yiling with impatience, but he froze the moment he saw her face. He asked in disbelief, what are you doing here? Come to think of it, Xingting has seen He Yiling's photo before. According to Mr. He's plan, He Yiling was never supposed to set foot in the country. Xingting sensed something was off. He suddenly glanced around, startled to realize that he, the host, had not shown up. what on earth is going on? My eyes crinkled into a smile, seeing my smile. His heart sank to the pit of his stomach. The contract with the He family was his only bargaining chip. If he loses even this last card, he'll never have a chance to recover. I moved closer to him and whispered, Xingting, do you remember the vow you made? In just a few seconds, his forehead was drenched in sweat, his voice trembled. Hey, I was wrong, I had nothing to do with that assistant, I lost my head, this is all my fault. I raised my hand to cut off his confession. You said, betray me, and you'll die a horrible death. He looked at me in terror. I stepped around him and led Healing away, but I had only taken 2 steps when a loud bang suddenly sounded behind me. Xingting dropped straight to his knees and cried out, I love you. I can't live without you. Please forgive me. His shout instantly drew everyone's attention. Whoa, what's President Shen doing? You should pick the right moment to confess your love. Among the guests, a few had also attended the auction that day. A while back, Xingting outbid Mr. Wen for that necklace he had his eye on, and now the young couple is having a bit of a spat. Then he got what he deserved. Still, to kneel in front of everyone, Xingting is truly devoted. Hearing the crowd's murmurs, Xingting seemed emboldened. He shuffled forward on his knees until he was right in front of me. His eyes were brimming with deep affection. I promise, from now on all my assistants will be men. I'll never give you cause for misunderstanding again. Can we please stop fighting? Xingting has knelt before me twice. The first time, he got tangible, financial help. The second time, he still had the audacity to hope for my forgiveness. He can't seriously believe that a man's knees are paved with gold. Just then, a woman's voice broke the silence. Brother Ting, what are you doing? Chen Yao lunged forward. Did she give you a hard time again? He glared at me and said, you've gone too far, woman, can't you just leave us alone? Brother Ting doesn't love you at all. Slap. Shut up. 12. Chen Yao's voice cut off abruptly. She covered her face and turned away in disbelief. Xingting, you hit me. Not only Chen Yao, but everyone present widened their eyes in astonishment. Xingting actually hit a woman. Healing couldn't resist poking me. Your taste in men is really terrible. Her voice dripped with undisguised contempt. I don't know why, but I suddenly feel a bit embarrassed. Tears fell from Chen Yao's eyes, one drop after another. She still wore the priceless necklace around her neck, a symbol of their love. She covered her face and screamed in anguish. I've done everything for you. I even took care of your mother when she was sick, and you dare hit me? What are you talking about? I won't let you interfere with my relationship with my fiancé. Xingting was quick to distance himself from the relationship. He took my hand. Hey, don't listen to her. She's just imagining things. She's lying. Before I could react, Chen Yao grabbed Xingting by the collar. Am I talking nonsense? You're the one who said you never loved when he at all, just valued her abilities. You even told me you'd had enough of her long ago. You said it yourself. Now it's me who's making things up. In the stunned silence of onlookers, Chen Yao slammed her fist into Xingting's face. She yanked the necklace from her neck and hurled it at Xingting. Ugh, I must have been blind to fall for someone like you. Xingting, you're not even a real man. With that, Chen Yao turned and walked away. She looked so delicate, yet she was surprisingly strong. Xingting was knocked to the ground by her punch. A dreadful silence fell over the banquet hall. I crouched down and looked at Xingting's bruised face. He raised his hand, expecting me to pull him up just like I did 4 years ago. The corner of my mouth lifted into a rare smile directed at him. Xingting, it's time to meet your well-deserved end. 13. The banquet resumed. The security guard escorted him out. He didn't show up at the banquet until it ended. Healing represented throughout the entire process. Before the banquet concluded, she announced her impending termination of the contract with Xingshi Group and her new partnership with the Wen family. Everyone present was shrewd and worldly wise. Having witnessed the opening act, they all understood what had transpired. Not a single person mentioned Xingting's name again. Everyone was congratulating me. The day after this news broke, Xingting was suspended for harming the company's interests in the vast expanse of Xingshi Group. Not a single shareholder spoke up on his behalf. After being suspended, he will face a wave of investigations. With the evidence I've released, he's looking at a good 7 or 8 years behind bars. I poached his entire R&D team. All his hard work over the years just paved the way for my success. His current predicament is truly lamentable. No one could have imagined that things would escalate to this point over an assistant, but the one who suffered the most was Vincent. He was still counting on Xingting to turn his fortunes around, but now even that last hope has been shattered. Later, my dad reached out to me again. He looked several years older, with much More gray hair. He seemed genuinely remorseful, even shedding a couple of tears in front of me. How absurd. A man who spent his life playing with emotions was actually heartbroken over losing his daughter's affection. This won't work with brute force. Time to play the self-inflicted wound tactic. I didn't expose him. I gave him and Vincent a chance. The company is opening a branch in Africa. If he and Winston can work there for a full year, I'll return the company to him. He double-checked with me repeatedly, even making me write up an agreement. Finally, we boarded the plane happily with Winston. I saw them off in person, because I know they won't come back. My mother also wanted to play the victim card. She was far more skilled at it than my father. When I went to see her, she couldn't even get out of bed. She lay in that shabby basement apartment, her face as pale as a ghost. Clutching my hand weakly, she whispered, "Ah hey, I don't know how much longer I have left. I've wronged you, and I can never make it right in this lifetime. I'll carry that debt to my grave, but your sister is innocent. My mistakes shouldn't be held against her." After saying that, when Ling collapsed onto her and burst into tears, I stared at them with an expressionless face. If I hadn't known she just had a cold, I'd have thought she was dying. I stood up and smoothed out the wrinkles she had left on my shirt. Debts die with the debtor. We'll talk about it when you're dead. The two of them froze mid-sob. My mother jerked her head up. "You really want me dead, do you?" I looked at her face and said nothing. I've always wanted to ask her, why did you only take Wenling with you back then? Why couldn't you take me with you? Why couldn't you take me instead and leave Wenling behind? But looking at her face, I didn't want to ask anymore. I already knew the answer. It's just that you don't love me, isn't it? I already knew that. When you and Wenling abandoned me, you should have known this day would come. Mom, don't ever show your face in front of me again, or I can't promise what I might do to you." Amid their shouts, I pushed open the door and left. Before I said this, I thought it would be really hard, yet the only thing I feel right now is relief. Shashua has been waiting for me outside all this time. Seeing me come out, she breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at me cautiously and said, "President Wen." "President, he just called to invite you for hot pot tonight." I rubbed my temples. I just signed the contract with He Corporation and I'm swamped all day, barely touching the ground. I had to squeeze out time just to be here. How could I possibly have time for hot pot? "Not going," Xiaoshui pouted. "President Wen, let's go," she said, a little sheepishly. "President, he also invited 5 junior students." "5, she said, 1 for you, 1 for me, and 3 for her. Are we going?" "Yeah, let's go, comma, end of text."